welcome to another broadcast of Conversations with Marlon, the guitar player in the corner. I am your host, Marlon Bankston. My guest today is Emmett Lee. Emmett Lee is a musician, drummer, songwriter. He's been around the Kansas City jazz scene and music scene for quite some time. He is well known among those of us who are musicians who play with very talented players. And I bring him to the camera today to talk to him about his background, his life in music, some of the compositions that he's done that he would like to share, and just to get everybody to get a good sense of this talent, Emmett Lee. Hello, Emmett. How are you doing?
Fine, Marlon. Fine. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure. It is.
Yes, sir. Let me get right into it. Emmett, what's your background in music? How did you get started?
Well, I'm pretty much self-taught. I started as a kid. And, we started a band in high school, and I moved on from there. But like I said, I'm pretty much self-taught, and that's pretty much it right there.
Yeah. What's your style? What's your style of play? What do you play?
Well, when we first started out, it was just all funk. James Brown, that kind of thing. I love that kind of stuff. And I kept doing that until about mid-late 70s, and I got turned on to like contemporary jazz. And that really turned my musical influence around a lot. I started listening to that, and I started wanting to play that style of music. And so I got with other like-minded musicians, and we started playing that style of music.
Who were some of your influences?
Well, we started in the 70s, drummers like Billy Cobham. Golly, it's just too many to mention right now. Who else? Chick Corea, Weather Report, that kind of stuff. I loved all that kind of stuff. The
fusion scene, the fusion music.
Yeah, we started doing that.
Yeah. And funk-wise, who were you listening to when you were playing funk? Who were you doing?
Oh, Ohio Players, Earth, Wind and Fire. Of course, James Brown. He was a big influence when we first started. I think we played like 90% of his music in our first little band we had.
Yeah, it was during that period that's when I met you, Emmett, when you were playing with the band and playing some of the around the club scene, and I remember I want to say the Ozarks or something. I stood in for another player. What was the name of that? What was the name of that group? Do you remember?
I think the Shades of Madness.
Shades of Madness. And how many people were in that band?
Oh God, we had I think we had a 4-piece horn section and a 5-piece rhythm section.
Yeah, I remember your keyboard player. I can't remember his name, but he had a Hammond organ.
Yeah, Fred Dotson.
Fred Dotson, the heaviest Hammond. It was like being a slave in the time of the Roman Empire, trying to get that out of the band and onto the stage and packing that up. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I talked to Fred recently, and it is furniture. It's parked somewhere in the back of his garage, and it's basically furniture now.
Thank God when they came out with technology that could duplicate that sound. You didn't have to break your back trying to carry that thing up a flight of stairs.
Oh, right. Yeah, but we were a lot younger then, Marlon. A lot younger.
I think even back then, being young, I just remember a couple of times helping Fred lift that, and I didn't like that at all, man. That was something else. Hey, on the speaking of the jazz, so where's some of the places in Kansas City for the viewers who are watching this who may not be from the Kansas City area? Kind of talk about let me talk about the jazz scene in Kansas City through your view, and some of the places that you have played.
Oh gosh. Well, currently we're at the Bristol out in Overland Park, and we play Sullivan Steakhouse on the weekends. I'm playing with a really good guitar player, Will Matthews, who is also the guitarist with the Cal Basie Orchestra. And Will and I have been playing off and on for years and years. And, well, you know, there's just so many places to play in Kansas City right now. Green Lady downtown. There is, well, God, you know, I'm just drawing a blank on this stuff.
Like the Blue Room. The Blue Room. Have you played there?
Right, the Blue Room. And I've got to get the Blue Room, man. The Gym Theater. You know, there's a club across the street from the Blue Room. I think it's Bayou on the Pines. They do live entertainment down there. Let's see, on the Plaza, there's a couple different places. I mean, you know, there's just so many different places in town that you could play.
Yeah, I think Bayou on the Vine used to be called Danny's Big Easy. Did you play there when they were Danny's Big Easy? And
once or twice.
Yeah, so we did too with Roz, our producer. I played gigs with Roz down there. That was a Cajun restaurant. It was they served Cajun food and they had a stage and you play. Did you like playing for them down at the on 18th and Vine? Did you like playing down there?
Yeah. You know, I mean, not to play favorites, but I really like playing the Blue Room a lot. You know, the crowd was, you know, kind of upscale and they listened. They you know, it was a listening kind of a room. And a lot of rooms you play, you know, you just kind of like background noise, but these people really listen, and I like playing rooms like that.
Yeah. Would you say the jazz scene in Kansas City alive and well, or it needs a boost, or where would you say it's at?
You know, I always think that we could use a few more jazz clubs in the city. I mean, it's just not enough, you know. And I always think you could use at least 3 or 4 more jazz clubs in the city, and especially down in the 18th and Vine area. Golly, we can use a couple more. Oh, I forgot about the new room, Foray down on the 18th and Vine. She's got a really nice place in there, and she really treats the musicians very nice. I really like playing that room too.
That when you agree, that's very important for musicians, how we're treated when we go to these different places to play. Sometimes, I'm sure we both had experiences where the working conditions wasn't. We enjoy playing. I think we would play in a hole in a cellar if it came down to it. But sometimes some places make it really enjoyable when they treat you very well. The musicians, they pay you well, they feed you, you know, and all that. So what would you say is your favorite place?
That we're playing right now, or just overall?
Yeah.
Well, the Bristol, they treat us really well over there. You know, they feed us, they give us our drinks, and they just treat us really well.
Yeah.
We've been over there now going on 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you know, it's a very nice room. The crowd is very receptive, and everybody's very friendly. And you know, I wouldn't mind playing there another 9 years.
So you mentioned your guitar player that plays with you now in that band. What's the name of that band, by the way?
We go by the Saturday Night Trio over there at Sullivan's.
Okay.
And we just do a lot of contemporary jazz. And over at the Bristol, I do more traditional type jazz over there. You know, plus I do a little singing if they twist my arm.
Well, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the names of the other members that are playing with your trio. So what's the names and what positions do they play?
Okay, my keyboard player is Alex Cordero. We're a really good keyboard player. He and I have been playing off and on together for the past 25 years or so. And of course, there's Will Matthews over at Sullivan's. Over at the Bristol, I've got a really good stand-up bass player, a guy named Greg Clinkenbeard. Greg's a great player, funny guy, real nice guy, and he's been with us for maybe about 5 or 6 years of the 9 years we've been at Bristol. And we really started to gel, and we have a good time there.
Good. Hey, let me peel back some of the layers of your, musicianship, and let me go into your history. Where were you born? How many brothers and sisters you have? And how did music come to your family?
Wow, we got to go back. We'll go way back. Okay.
Yeah. What city were you born in?
I was born in Seattle, Washington, but we came down here when I was a kid, so I basically grew up here. You know, started beating on pots and pans, and so, you know, my mother wanted to be a singer, so she knew a lot of the musicians that were already here in town. And when they heard me, when they saw me beating on these pots and pans, they told her, "Get that boy some drums." So I started off on the practice band. She got me a little practice band, and I started playing on that. And then she got a snare drum for me when I was about 11 or 12. And then when in the summer of, I guess I could say it, the summer of 1969, I was 14 that year, and I got my first set of drums. Oh man, that was the best. And that shortly after that is when I started the little band that we played in high school. We played our first gig in that summer of 1970, and I was a nervous wreck. I was scared to death. I mean, you know, because up until that point, we had just been practicing in somebody's basement. Playing in front of a crowd is a whole nother experience, you know. But, you know, as you do it and you get more comfortable with it, you know, it turns out it's fun. Oh, yeah. And we got paid, which was like a blast for all of us because we would have done it for free. And then when they gave us the money, I was like, okay, I'm sold. This is what I want to do. And so that's how it started, man. Seriously.
Do you have any other musicians in your family?
No, as far as I know, I'm the only musician. Yeah, I'm the only musician in the family. And also, I'm getting back to my history. I'm an only child, so you know, I didn't have anybody to share anything, so I got it all.
Can you remember that? You said that first drum set you got. What brand was that?
It was a Majestic. My mother went down there. I don't know if you remember Jenkins Music Store downtown. You remember that store?
Yeah.
I got it from there. Yeah, here we go. I got it from there, and man, I beat that. You know, I played that thing every day, and it was so funny, Marlon, because we lived in a duplex, and so there was somebody next door to us, and I had got a brand new set of drums. Didn't know a whole lot about it, so I made a whole lot of noise before I made anything musical, and they were very understanding. You know, they never complained, and they just let me beat and bang away until I started making some sense musically, you know. And I wish I could find those people and thank them.
Oh yeah. Is that where's the first drum set? Is there an Emmett Museum somewhere that you kept a part of it or pieces of it, or?
No, because later on I traded that drum set for a better drum set a couple, 2 or 3 years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's usually the progression of it. I think the first guitar my mother ever got me, I couldn't tell you where. That's probably kindling for a fireplace somewhere. But I would have traded in the first chance I get to get a Fender Stratocaster. It would be gone because, you know, seeing Jimi Hendrix. I had to have a white Fender Stratocaster that I still have to this day, as a matter of fact.
I think, you finally got one.
Yeah.
You finally got one.
Yeah. Hey, so let me switch the page a second, and let me talk about your playing other instruments and compositions. I heard a couple of your pieces sometime back and was impressed by that. So let's talk about playing piano, because when I heard you, we played together at a wedding. Is the first time, like my the late Chester Boyd that we both know, Chester's son's wedding, and you played in a band with me. Oh yeah, man, Chester was an outstanding guy. But we played at Chester's son Gene, his wedding, and I think before rehearsal started, I remember coming in and setting up, and you got on their baby grand piano at the church and started playing, and I was stunned. I didn't know that you could play piano. Where does that start? How did that come about? Piano.
Well, my piano playing started with a woman.
Okay.
I met this young lady, and she wanted to sing, and so me wanting to impress her, I told her that I played piano. So she said, oh, okay, well then we need to get together and make some music. So that I was like, oh my God, really? So I ran down and got just one of these basic piano books. You know, it showed you where you put your fingers for the chords. And I learned some basic chords, and I guess I learned enough to kind of impress her, but that's how it started. And then from there on, man, I started, branching out more and more and getting a little bit more, technical with my piano playing. I'm still not that good. I can block chords out and everything, but I sure would like to do some virtuoso kind of things. But I'm pretty good with my chords right now.
Do you find that you have a different personality when you approach the piano versus when you sit behind a drum set? Can you explain, if you have that, can you explain that? What is the personality? How do you feel and what goes on there?
I like pretty music. I really enjoy really pretty romantic kind of music, and it puts me in that mindset. When I approach the drums, it's a little bit more of an aggressive thing, I still like the pretty music, but drums in and of itself is a more aggressive instrument. So you have to change your mindset a little bit. But when I get to the piano, I really like pretty chords and pretty music, and I turn into a little bit of a romantic when I go there.
Mm-hmm. So we use that term, a drummer who has a foot. In my estimation, you have a foot for that kick drum. How did you, for those musicians and drummers, they would know what I'm talking about that phrase about having a foot. But how did you get such a good, solid kick? How did you develop that? How long did that take you to get that together?
Well, that was James Brown's fault. Because when we started, you know that kind of music, man. You got to have that horn. That foot's got to be there. And that's basically what I started listening to when I first started playing. So I just emulated what I heard, and that foot was always there in his music, man.
Yeah.
And so I've copied that. Yeah. And it just progressed from there.
Yeah. So let's talk about a couple of your compositions. Can you tell us about two of your favorites, title and what it's about? How did you write it? How did you come to write the song? And just give us a flavor of how you sound, how your compositions are, and what did you play on those? Can you do that for us?
Okay, the first one is a song called Windswept. I wrote that one maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. I got my trusty Rhodes here. I've had that Rhodes for like 30 years, man. I'll never give it up. To me, it's like the classic piano sound. The only other piano I'd have is a grand piano, but I always have Rhodes, always. Mm-hmm. So that song originated on the Rhodes. I'm doodling around one day, and I get a little, how it works. You get a little hook that kind of catches your ear, and you think yourself, but yeah, maybe I can turn that into something. And so, it progressed from there. And then I heard, I got a melody line in my head to go with the chord structure. And then I heard a soprano saxophone doing the lead on it. And I just, I started developing the song and the melody line from there. And man, it just kind of came together. It took me a while to get it together because a lot of times your songs, they just never come to you. You have to work to get them out, I don't know, these musicians who said a song just came to me in a dream, and I got it from start to finish. I'm like, how do you do that? Yeah. But I really have to work to get these songs, I get a little bit, I leave, I come back, and I, piece the song together, and that's kind of how it came together. The imagery of the song was, I was visualizing a deserted beach. If you stay with me on this one, a deserted beach. It's really overcast. It's kind of rocky, craggy. The waves are crashing up against the surf, and it's kind of, it's raining and windy. And it put me in the mind of that beach. I just saw that beach in my mind's eye, and I was like, yeah, windswept. It's a windswept beach, and I just took the idea from there, and I tried to match that imagery up with the song. And I hope I did a good job.
So, and the second song, what's another favorite?
Okay, the second song is it's I'll put it like this. The second song is kind of an adaptation. I'm going to mention this song because it was the last thing I recorded, and about 3 or 4 years ago, I don't know how I came up with this, but I wanted to do a remake of the old Alvin and the Chipmunks song, Please Christmas Don't Be Late. But I wanted to put a doo-wop feel on it, you know. So, you know, if you can visualize that song in your head. But I wanted to put a doo-wop feel on it. So I wanted to record it about 2 or 3 years ago, but for some reason I just didn't have the motivation, the time, the money, or whatever. So this past holiday season, all that stuff finally came together for me. I went into the studio and I laid the music tracks down. Now I was going to sing it myself, but come to find out, I had recorded it in a key that was too high for me. So Craig Lindsay, I can't say enough about Craig. He's a consummate musician, studio, engineer, arranger, producer. But anyway, got over to Craig's and he recommended a guy that could sing that song, man. A guy named Joe Gallen. And Joe was a young guy. He came in and he did a phenomenal job on the song. I mean, and I'm very happy with it. As a matter of fact, I'm still listening to it 5 months later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The only drawback is by the time I finished the song, it was 2 days before Christmas, and I didn't get a chance to actually let people hear it. And I had mainly put it together just to give out as Christmas gifts. But like I said, I finished it 2 days before Christmas, so I missed that song.
And what's the name of it?
It'll be ready.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it'll be ready next Christmas.
Okay. And what's the name of the song again, so everybody can look for that?
The Christmas song.
Yeah, the Christmas song.
It's Please Christmas Don't Be Late.
Please Christmas Don't Be Late. Okay.
Yeah, and it's a remake of that Alvin and the Chipmunks song.
Oh, okay. Did you have one chipmunk sweaters or something on, and an A or something on it? Did anybody?
No, I just really like the way the song flows. Oh, also, I gotta say this too. The song only has one verse, so I had to come up with a couple of extra verses and a bridge.
Oh, wow.
And that took a while to put together.
Wow.
Just keep it in that Christmas spirit, though.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, I always ask my guests when we come to the end of an interview, this line. I say this line from Tale of Two Cities. And of course, I'm lifting it out of context. But to me, it speaks of a journey for musicians and artists and entertainers. And the line is, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. When I say that to you, what comes to you? What instantly comes to you?
Wow.
For you.
I mean, the exhilaration and the joy that I feel when everything comes together, when the music, the crowd, and it's a symbiotic thing. You put your music out there and it's sounding good. The crowd is giving you the love back, and it just makes you feel. I mean, it's special. I mean, I can't think of another feeling like that in the whole world. And it just makes you want to keep doing it. It just makes you want to keep creating, man. It just does.
It was the worst of times.
Now, we've all had those gigs where no matter what you did, that the crowd you just couldn't move them, You do handstands, backflips, you juggle plates or whatever, and you just can't move the crowd. And that's a real dejected feeling when you put because when you play your music, you put yourself out there on the line, man. Your heart and your soul. And when you get kicked in the dirt, it's just like, I just want to go home and cry.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
But it always comes back around where, the love of the music always kind of gets you through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So on that note, Emmett, I want to thank you for spending this time with us. and sharing your story and your talent. We wish you the best of luck, continued success, and elevation in everything that you do. We appreciate you. My guest today was Emmett Lee. This is Marlon Bankston signing off. Please join us again for another episode of Conversations with Marlon, that guitar player in the corner. See you next time.
Christmas time is here. Time for toys and time for cheer. We've been